So the last video we did was we looked at the trailer for Andrew Wakefield's new film, Vaxxed. And quite frankly, as I've said before, in the reviewing of the trailer, it is an absolute, God to honest, absolute lie from start to finish. And God knows what the final film is actually going to be like. I've already seen a couple of reviews of the film, and put it this way, it's fulfilling all my expectations. However, we had a deluge of Andrew Wakefield fanboys, or fangirls, flood my comment section, and they said, well, you're recommending that, you know, people go watch Brian Deer's expose on Andrew Wakefield. Well, go watch, I'm going to butcher his name, but it's Dr. McCullough, I think it is. Dr. McCullough interviews Dr. Andrew Wakefield on his MMR study, and the other one is Brian Deer and the GMC selective hearing and the BMJ journalist. And oh my god, okay, I've seen a lot of conspiracy films in my life, and these two, the first one's an interview, but the second one is an out-and-out conspiracy theory. At not one point does any of the film, even the guy interviewing Andrew Wakefield, bring up the fact that Andrew Wakefield had a separate patent for an MMR jab, that if his study had brought to an end the current MMR jab, he would have made an absolute fortune. Not only that, how about we bring up the legal case that Andrew Wakefield was brought on to be involved with before the whole MMR thing started. And what was the legal case to do? Oh, that's right, it was to try and prove that there was a link between MMR and autism from 12 random parents who, again, and I stress this again and again, there is no link between the MMR jab and autism, regardless of what your natural news site tells you. And again, all the elephants in the room of his... he had a patent on another jab. He was hired by a law firm to try and establish this link. He faked his own, paper to try and prove this. Okay, these are all facts. These are three facts that in those two videos I've just mentioned are not brought up. Okay, and Andrew Wakefield tried to sue Brian Deer, Channel 4, and I can't remember who the third party was now. I think it might have been The Lancet. Tried to sue them for these 3 points of information, and guess what? Wakefield lost in the UK, and he tried. I don't know what actually happened with the trial, but he was trying to do the trial again in Texas. However, Texas had thrown it out, and I think it was an appeal stage last time I looked. However, this was at some point last year. I'm not sure whether or not it went forward. But put it this way, again, he brought no evidence and could not show that the three claims that Brian Deer was making were false. So I'm sorry if you think Andrew Wakefield is some sort of saviour or whatnot, but I'm sorry, until Andrew Wakefield himself can address those 3 points in an actual proper manner and not just go, oh, Brian Deers actually works for the British Medical Journal and he had a vested interest in doing this. He lied. Well, excuse me, Andrew, you took him to court over these supposed lies and you lost. You lost. According to the council, the British Medical Council that took you into hearing, where you lost your licence, all you did for 3 days was jerk off in front of them. You didn't present one piece of evidence in the trial where you tried to sue Brian Deere and the others involved in making these allegations against you, you sat there and jerked off and didn't produce one piece of evidence. And from what I can tell, in America, where you've tried this again, you've sat there and just jerked off again. I'm sorry, but Andrew Wakefield is not a saviour. And it's absolutely insane how people think this guy is, you know, a credible expert, because he's not. He really isn't. He's a charlatan. He really is. He's out there for one reason and one reason alone: to make money. And the ironic thing is that every one of these people that comes and makes these anti-vax comments always say the same thing about pharmaceutical companies, how they're lying to them, they fake their studies, you know, you name it, whatever. All those things those people say are true about Andrew Wakefield. It's like the blind leading the blind. However, I would have more faith in a blind person to be able to see the evidence that's quite frankly presented not only in my last video, but in Brian Deere's actual documentary in Dispatches, MMR, What They Didn't Tell You. And again, go and read his articles on it. Again, Andrew Wakefield tried to sue him and he failed. That says far more about Andrew Wakefield's claims than anything else anybody else could say about him.